Overreaction Mondays on a
On a
Tuesday.
Tuesday. What's happening? I'm the governor of college football. With me, of course, is the mayor of college football, Nino Brown. Nino, what's happening?
This was this was a good week. I happened to catch a good game in person. We'll touch on that a little bit, I believe. But you had football from the jump till probably the next day at 2 in the morning with Colorado State. So this is a good week of football, man. I'm excited.
So much to talk about. It's been a crazy week of football. Somehow, some way, some shape, some form. We're not going to talk about Colorado. But every year, we get a week of games that remind us this is the reason why we play the games. And week 3 may be that week of this season. Boston College welcomed a red-hot Florida State Seminole team, a team that has title aspirations. A game which should have been business as usual for the Seminoles, but on Red Bandana Day, here at Alumni Stadium, the Eagles had other things in mind. Nino, you were at the game Saturday. Talk to me about the atmosphere. Talk to me about the game and what Red Bandana game represents.
I mean, you would have thought that you were blooding it up at this one. I mean, everywhere you went, there was four wells, bandana print, bandanas in the pocket. Everything was four wells, and as well as it should be. I mean, the kid saved 18 people's lives in the World Trade in 9/11. Played lacrosse in BC. Just happened to work in the World Trade. Was trying to get out and was going to be a firefighter. And when everything hit, he took control and was able to go multiple times up and down and save lives. But this brings in the big guns. Tommy O'Brien, one of the greatest head coaches for BC ever, was in attendance. The media was in presence, and they were packed in. Listen, the room that I was in for NIU and the room I was in for this game, Florida State, triple the amount of people. That's all I want to say about the media presence in that one. Student section, you get A+. They were rocking all game. I mean, it was wells. Everything was four wells, and as well as it should be. And listen, the atmosphere gave life to the team, and we saw down the field.
Beautiful. So I know, and it's crazy that I didn't really know of the Red Bandana game. I didn't know its importance. So knowing that type of importance, I'm sure the pregame speeches that Coach Hafley and staff were able to get, just building up to that week, they played out of their mind. And there is no moral victories in the sport that survive and advance. It's what I like to see it, but this is as close as it's going to get to it. Nino, I know you've been waiting for this. Talk to me about Thomas Castellanos and what he could do for the BC program moving forward.
Thomas Castellanos is special. Okay, going into the season, it was supposed to be Emmett Moorhead, and Castellanos transferred in the end of the portal. Didn't see any of them in the spring game. He wasn't even there yet. He's a dude. Okay, this is his second collegiate start. It's, second start in general since high school. And an offense that's trying to find an identity on the fly. Seminoles are a fast defense, but they had no answer for Castellanos' game. This game was a mixture of run the ball 2 to 6 yards with Robichaud, catch a penalty. Thomas Castellano makes something crazy happen. Right, his dual threat ability is huge in this day and age in this game. And listen, from week 1 to week 3, you're seeing them mold this offense around what he's good at. He's sharpening up his passing, his targets, his skills, everything, his game, his tools. He's sharpening them up as he goes. He's a dude. He's a quarterback to watch for in the future. And I think that he could bring in talents to BC through the portal, through recruiting. He got 3 more years eligibility outside of this one. He has a very bright future for BC. That play with his back against the wall in his own territory on he just took off. Like it was, I think it was 4th and 9 or 39 it was, and my man just took off for 45 yards. We know how fast Florida State is. Jared Verse didn't really touch my man the whole game.
It's crazy to think that I remember hearing you. If you guys haven't saw the interview that Nino had with Coach Jeff Hafley, please go check that out. Now, I heard you talking about Castellanos, and there, if we were paying attention, Coach Hafley kind of gave us some tells. If you really heard him speak on Castellanos, please go check that interview out, everyone. So, Overreaction numero uno. Of course, it's Overreaction Monday. It's just on a Tuesday this week. Are the
Yeah.
Seminoles overrated? And will they have a chance against Clemson this upcoming Saturday?
I said a while back this was a big one. I thought Clemson and FSU would be undefeated. Um, but Clemson can erase the doubters with a W. My thing is, did BC figure something out and put it on film now for all the rest of the nation to see? Those big wide receivers didn't really do much. There was a couple big plays. Yeah, Wilson had I think he had a 30-yard gain and I want to say another chunk play for like 40 yards. But that was about it. They weren't dominant like they had been all year. Um, I don't think that the Seminoles are overrated. I think they are a top 5 team. I think they're right where they should be in the pocket at 3. But don't get it twisted. Florida State's on upset alert this Saturday.
I would have to agree 100%. And if there's anything that Clemson can utilize from this game, one, you guys were out there hitting. Two, just Thomas Castellano's ability to make plays off script. It was crazy.
Physicality. Mahogany was throwing people around in the front game. Like I said, they were getting chunks. 2, 6, 5, 4. Castellanos would go off for 12. Hit Lewis Bond for 25. Hit Joseph Griffin for 35. Boom. 2, 2, get 6, get a first down. Boom. Like they were playing physical. They were getting the run game going all game. Robichaud had Kyle Robichaud was a physical presence, which he was the week before against Holy Cross, and I wanted to see if they were going to stack that, and they did. So it seems like he's going to be RB1 for them going forward. But I wasn't expecting it. They got it to a lead. I wasn't expecting BC to have the resilience to come back, but just like Wells did, resilience to go back up and down those stairs to get those people. BC had enough resilience to stay and fight right down to the wire. I mean, but the penalties killed them.
Yeah.
That was the thing. Record set 18 penalties. And I said to you at the game, I said
You did.
that 4th down and 3 on the 2 that they went for instead of taking the 3. There's your game. You get that, you win by 1.
Wow. That think about all the penalties that they have. To think about key situational plays at situational moments, and the fact that having that 3, like you said, would have won them the game is just outright mind-boggling to me. We had a wild one down in Columbia, Mizzou Saturday where the 15th-ranked Kansas State Wildcats took on the Tigers of Mizzou. And this game was a barn burner, Nino, with the Tigers winning in thrilling fashion 30-27 on a 61-yard field goal by Harrison Mevis. This was a wild one, Nino. What were some of your key takeaways from the showdown?
Harrison Mevis has got ice water in the veins. For sure. Granted, there was a flag on the play, so if he had missed it, they were able to kick it again. I think there was 2 number 8s on the field for the defense.
That's been a big thing in college football this year.
Yeah, double numbers. They got to get away. They got to stay away from that. But yeah, I'm pretty sure they would have got to redo the play. But anyway, listen, my biggest takeaway is we did a show earlier. Me and Dino talked about Luther Burden. We're here. Luther Burden has arrived. Okay. I'm going to touch on the next couple questions. But Brady Cook, I don't understand your fan base, but man, you got cojones, bro. You out there playing hurt, dialing them up. Will Howard is a dude. I think Kansas State was a little bit overrated.
Yeah.
I think we've seen that, but I think Mizzou might have been a little bit underrated.
I would have to agree with that 100%. And you alluded to it earlier. Talk to me about wide receiver Luther Burden. Also, make sure you guys check out Debbie Darling's every week. Nino D-Now does such a wonderful job with that show. They talk to you about these guys. If you're unfamiliar with Debbie fantasy football, please check out this show. They're going to tell you all about these guys. So Luther Burden is this next episode that will be released tomorrow. Check that out. But Nino, give us kind of a preview of Debbie Dollars by talking about Luther Burden now.
Listen, he's 5'10", 205, 208, somewhere in that range. He's just he's a freak athlete, right? 5-star. He seems to be able to do it at any time, anywhere on the field. He wins at the line of scrimmage. He doesn't have crazy speed. Like I said, I said to Dino in the episode, like he doesn't have 4.3 speed, but he got speed that like one step makes separation, and he can create space in a phone booth, which is insane. He said he did it just multiple times against Kansas State. Don't let him get in front of you because you won't win. And for 3 weeks, he's pretty much had 100 yards or a touchdown. The 1 week he didn't have a touchdown, he had 97 yards. Uh, he's a threat. His threat ability opens up the offense, and just look at Cook's rushing touchdown. Burton went in motion in this game, right? And Drew, the linebacker and the safety, all to
Right.
one side, and Cook just walked in
Easy.
for an untouched touchdown. So his athleticism and his ability to make plays instantly draws a defense, which has opened up Mizzou's offense.
So we're into learning and developing and growing on this show. What are some of the things that the Kansas State Wildcats can learn from this game and utilize later on in the season, especially when they get to Big 12 play?
It seems like when we get to teams on what they need to learn on, you can't be one dimensional.
Yeah.
I feel like I've said this before. You got to continue to run the ball. Feed Trayshawn Ward. All right. 3.9 yards per carry as a total is not good. And it's not something to fear, right? The defense, they just don't fear you. Beat me with the pass. Please.
Right.
I'll let you throw the ball 50 times, but I'll have, I'll sit there back in zones and I'll give you different reads, but I know I'm never going to put 7, 8, 9 in the box. It's not going to happen. But Will Howard was doing everything he could, including Tebow West jump passes for touchdowns. Like, it was pretty. Don't get me wrong. But when you got to do stuff like that, you're literally pulling every rabbit out of the hat. And you got to get pressure. You got to attack QB. 9 total pressures on 60-plus snaps is gross. I mean, they managed 2 sacks, but you really got to do better. Like I said, 60-plus snaps and only getting 9 pressures. Take away the sacks, that's 7 pressures over 4 quarters, man. You got to. You can't just let a guy sit back there and pick your pot.
That's crazy. So, Nino, we started off with 2 great, fantastic games in week 3. Now, Nino, we're gonna get to a situation, and we got to talk about it. We discussed 2 fantastic games in the opening. Now we're headed to Tampa Bay to discuss a game between Bama versus USF, and I'm sure we were all underwhelmed by this game. Nick Saban said he was proud of the way his team fought. There's this saying in battle rap, and I'm gonna say it now. Hitman in close battles with Bill Collector. Like, really? Like, you proud of the way your team fought? Should be happy with the win today. Nick Saban also stated that his staff needed to further evaluate the quarterbacks. Nino, talk to me about Saban comments. All 3 QBs. I do need to add one note. There was a players-only meeting recently. Go ahead and shoot.
Yeah, there was a players-only meeting recently, and we'll get to that. But I told you months ago, we can go back and clip it, put it on Twitter, YouTube, whatever you want. There was a problem in Tuscaloosa with the quarterback room, okay? Milroe is different from Young or even Sims. I've been saying that for months now. I mean, Milroe is your first true dual-threat QB under Saban, and they haven't milled the offense to match that.
Nope.
Yes, Milroe has looked bad at times, but there's moments where you could say, okay, yeah, that kid has potential to be special. I see why he was recruited to the team, right? Buckner isn't, never has, never will be the answer at Bama. He wasn't even the answer at Notre Dame for that matter, all right? No. You just looked like he wasn't ready. Ty Simpson came in, and I heard last season when Milroe was getting starts, when Bryce was out, freshmen don't start on the Nick Saban. Well, apparently neither do sophomores, right? Because Simpson can't even get in there either. And they just announced yesterday that Milroe's going back to QB1 again, which he deserves. But are you going to put him in the position to succeed, right? Like, Simpson, I don't know, because he can't – the door – can opportunity not get any harder? And he still couldn't sniff snaps. He had 9 attempts in that game before, like, they took him back out. Like, I don't know if Ty Simpson was ever the dude. Or is the regime of developing QBs at Alabama gone? Because that coaching staff isn't elite anymore. He's elite. Saban's elite. But the rest of that staff isn't elite. You're getting just think about this right now. You have 2 Notre Dame throwaways as your guys, Tommy Reese and Tyler Buckner. Would you ever think that Bama would have throwaways as Notre Dame being their guys? Would you ever think that Nick Saban would give you a twisted narrative moral victory type thing? We won the game. I would never expect. No. Nick Saban, I said this to my guy, Jake Crane, when he tagged me in a post. Nick Saban, in the 3rd quarter of that game, coming out of the tunnel, looked like the angry grandfather in Up. And he's looked like that the rest of that half. He knows that there's something wrong in Tuscaloosa right now.
It's early in the season with one loss to a damn good Texas team. The season is certainly recoupable.
Now they're a damn good Texas team.
Yeah, now they're a damn good Texas team. I'll give them their credit now, but it's there's a couple things I'm watching for with this Texas team. But my issue with Alabama is one, admittedly so, I had them in my college football playoff. And I expected with the way Nick Saban hit the recruiting trail, with the way David Pollock came at him during the national championship game, with the way that our guy Paul Feinbaum came at him, I'm just like, he's going to have this team ready. We're going to see classic Saban. I thought this offensive line would be much better than they really are. I'm not hitting the panic button because of one reason, like you just said, my belief in Nick Saban. But it goes back to this segment that you and I had. We did an emergency episode of CFB Prime. And we used the thing, No Country for Old Men.
I told you.
I'm starting to get worried, bro. Not going to hit the panic button. I'm loyal to the soil. I'm loyal to a fault. But Nino, if you were the head coach at Bama, who's you got moving forward? I know you hinted at it earlier, but go ahead and talk about it.
If I was the head coach of Bama, and they nailed it, they got Milroe. I 100% agree with the decision. If, and that is a big if, they mold the offense to fit the skill set of Milroe, like how BC is doing with Castellanos. You don't have to have a true pocket passer. You can sling the rock, but that's not. If that isn't his game, right now, then make it simple. Utilize what's working. Run the damn ball. Play action. Roll Milroe out. Mix in runs, but play smart. Long drives. Eat the clock. You don't have to win 44-10. You can win 21-17 and look damn good. But you're not looking damn good right now.
I mean, I would have to agree. Like, and I have to ask you a question, and it's our job to do our due diligence and ask this question, but who's more at fault for the lack of production for the last few weeks? Is it Nick Saban? Is it Tommy Rees? Or is it the QBs?
I kind of alluded to it a little bit before. It's Saban for not having an elite staff per usual. It's Tommy Rees for just trying to bring his guy in, a.k.a. Buckner, and take the easy way out instead of developing the talent in the room. And shit, the QBs that came to Alabama for a reason. And when the opportunity presents itself, they crawled up in a ball and cried. There's that meme, FOH, FOH, man.
Right.
Like, you came in knowing what it takes. Step the hell up to the plate and hit the ball at the park.
All right, so before we get into this last game, I'm really excited to talk about this last game. What were your biggest takeaways from this game?
My biggest takeaways from this game is the Bama defense can carry them for long stretches if they need to. Okay. I was worried about, these guys because early on in the season, they really weren't doing much, but Dallas Turner, Braswell, they caused major problems off the edge for QBs. Kool-Aid McKinstry had a bounce back week after being torched by A.D. Mitchell. He was targeted 3 times. He only had 2 receptions, but everything was kept in front of him. It was only 16 yards. I'm cool with it. This is the biggest takeaway for me. He's played in games because Malachi Moore has been hurt. They've been rotating through the secondary. Caleb Downs, a true freshman, he has the potential to be a force in the SEC in that secondary, but he really has to cut down on the missed tackle rate. 28.5% missed tackle rate is awful.
Let's talk about let's go down to let's go down to Gainesville, man. So I remember seeing a post a few months ago that was saying that Billy Napier. Granted, I do believe that he'll get at least 3 years, but
this one bought him some time.
Yeah, if they didn't come in, and after the Utah game, I said, uh-oh. But Billy Napier got his first statement victory in the swamp Saturday night versus Tennessee. Nino, I got a clip from you discussing this Joe Milton thing in the summer. You've been dead on it. I don't know where the hell I put the clip at. I'm going to have to edit it in post. But it was this episode of CFB Prime. You had the one and only Jake Crane from Crane & Company on the show. Both of you were talking about Nico Iamaleava. And you guys said that you thought that he would be starting by, what was it, week 3, week 4?
Yeah, he's gonna get some reps. It's gonna be time because
And guess
you
what?
can watch the movie, right?
Fans in Knoxville are calling on the freshman. You were dead on. It's not the first time, won't be the last time. This is your moment, bro. Go ahead.
Yo, Joe Milton got a cannon for an arm, has all the physical attributes similar to an Anthony Richardson. But the problem is my man got no touch. They both need to develop touch and stop relying on pure athleticism. So you can jump through the roof. You can throw the ball 101 miles per hour, 90 yards downfield. But when my man's running down the sideline with a dude trailing him, can you take the oomph off and put that ball in a bucket in his hand? And what we've seen so far this year is yes, once in a while you can, but it's not consistent. All right. You know, they Milton has good completion percentage against Austin Peay in Virginia, but let's be real. It's Austin Peay in Virginia, right? That's expected.
And Virginia, some of them stats was loaded, bro.
Right, exactly. In his first test was versus the Gators, and he didn't look good. 58.8%, 2 touchdowns a pick. But this was the one game he didn't have any drops from his wide receivers, and it was the worst completion percentage of the season for him. That's a neon sign for me. Okay. He had 3 big time throws and 8 yards per attempt. But again, does it show my point that you just can't fire the rock every time in there? You need finesse. You need to find it. You need to find it consistently. The throw to Thornton in the third was a beautiful back shoulder dot. Okay, down the hash, right down there. Boom, in stride. Didn't even have to stop. Just put his head back, hit him in the hands. Beautiful. And the touchdown throw to McCoy, it shows. There's a few times he can do it, but he's not consistent. And under pressure, my man has no touch whatsoever. It seemed he was lost at times in the pocket. He hadn't seen a pass rush. Like before the interception throw, he had 0 pocket awareness. My man stepped up into the hit. Like, where you going, bro? And again, late in the second, with the sack, he was just like, which way did he go? Which way did he go? And then again, the last drive of the game, he took a shot and tried to get the ball to a wide receiver, and it failed. But why not use your 244 pounds and take off? You had one man to beat for 6 yards, bro. You couldn't have juked him one more linebacker against your athleticism and gone for the first down. Spike the ball, keep going. His awareness in the pocket needs to be better. Got to find touch. Joe Milton might be finding himself on the bench.
Hey, they didn't bring Nico there for no reason. Talk to me. We talked about the bad. Let's talk about the good. Talk to me about Trevor Etienne.
205 pounds of pure running back joy. That's what Trevor Etienne is. I don't know what they feed them boys in Etienne family, but they know how to ball, okay? Trevor has that quick lateral movement that gets him just enough separation where now the speed and strength take over. Please, for the love of the Lord, stop trying to arm tackle this man. It's not happening. 119 of the 172 yards came after contact. 4 runs of over 15 plus yards, right? This is the first time all season he got 20 plus carries, and I don't think that's not going to be the norm from here on out. He's going to be getting the rock most of the time. Now, he's got a good running back in the backfield with him, but I think it was Etienne's coming out party.
I like it. So before we get into your biggest takeaways from this game, Nino, talk to me about some of your players of the week.
Listen, he pounds the table, and he showed up. That would be Torrey Horton, Colorado State wide receiver.
Killed it.
16 receptions, 140-something yards. He had a touchdown, 16 yards per catch. I said it in the show earlier when I was on T2T with Coach, Senior Bowl candidate. I know it took 2 extra periods, but my man hit 22.7, I think, miles per hour. He's like the 3rd fastest college football player this week alone. Like, he chased down Shiloh Sanders. He almost caught him on that pick 6. The kid has it. He's twitchy. He can go deep. He can work the middle of the field. He can work the outside. He's got good awareness, ball, not hawking skills, but like ball awareness in the air. He's got it all. I think he's a dude. I'm gonna say it. I said it. Elijah Jones for BC DB. He was 1 for 5 when in coverage on Johnny Wilson and Keon Coleman. Those guys. He's 6'2". Johnny Wilson 6'7". Keon Coleman 6'4". Like, he was below the Richter scale the whole time. My man was dropping dimes and leveling these guys. Like I said, Only one completion on him. I think it was for like 16 yards. BC came into play. Elijah Jones led that secondary. So those are two guys that stuck out for me.
Alrighty. And lastly, talk to me about some of your biggest takeaways from this game and how both teams can move forward from this game.
Well, like I said, with that first week in Colorado, what surprised the hell out of me was the discipline in the trenches. And what surprised me in this game was the Gators get down and dirty in the trenches.
Yeah.
They literally dog walk the Tennessee front seven. They own the run game. Tight end Castles and center Dwayne Davis. They were the only eligible blockers that weren't terrible, right? Like Sapp, Umanella just had their way with the Vols offensive line. 14 pressures, 2 sacks, like both sides of the ball. They just killed him. Cameron Jackson was a run stuffing machine for the Gators. Squirrel White can be a legitimate threat for the Vols, but Milton got to be able to put it together and get on the ball. And the last thing I took away from this defense, I know they didn't look as great, but Aaron Breezy is a dude at the linebacker position for the Vols. I mean, he's got 13 run stops in the season already. But here's my question to you, and I'm going to close it out this way. I hate Graham Mertz, but I think Graham Mertz played a better game than Joe Milton did with Joe Milton's style of play. Graham Mertz was running the ball. He don't run the ball.
I didn't see that in Madison. Speaking of Madison, CFB Nation will have boots on the ground in Madison at some point this season. I have the date, but I'm not going to tell you guys just yet. Yeah, I would agree. It was something that Billy Napier and the staff saw in him because they were trying to run him during the Utah game. I said, what the hell is going on here? I think we both said that.
Yeah, he had success in this game, though, which was odd to me. And not only did I catch on it, but both gentlemen that were calling the game noticed that, like, he took a shot, helmet popped off, he got up, first down, running to the sideline, pumping. Napier's giving him, fist pumps. The team is responding to Mertz. He's a leader and a catalyst for that squad right now, and it shows.
It's weird. You see a player. We watched Graham Mertz in Madison for a little over 2 seasons, and the sample size I saw the entire time, I'm like, it has to be him that's holding this team back. And seeing,
I was never a fan. I told you he was.
Me either. But Billy Napier and them, they was just so hell bent on this is our guy. I'm wondering how many games can Florida win this year? Because he could possibly have more success in Florida than he had those 2+ seasons in Madison combined.
He has to win 8. Okay. Because if you look at the 7 guys before him record through the amount of games he's coached, they have way more victories.
Right.
So he's got to come. This is, unfortunately, I know like they should give him another year regardless. But I think if he don't get to that 8 standard there, I think they're gonna try to.
You think it'd be gone?
Yeah, I just do. Like, it's been a while. Especially with seeing what Emory Jones is doing now.
Right. And that was another guy I was going to mention. It's weird because I didn't see that coming either.
Right. And nobody did. I mean, he had that one season where he had like 2,700 yards, 700 yards rushing. I think it was a total like 26 touchdowns. That was in 21, I believe it was.
It was
right?
in 21, yep.
And with AR and stealing a little bit of snaps, but being that presence in the back and behind him, the following year he was poo. And like I said, I am not a Satterfield guy. I think he's terrible. But whatever he brought there, it's clicking with these guys. The run game's clicking. Emory Jones seems to be so. Like, yeah, I mean, if Emory Jones has a good year and Mertz doesn't,
that says a lot.
Yeah, it does. But I think 8's the cap for them. I think that's where the pocket they got to lie in for the faithful to be okay.
And just okay.
Because there'll still be buzz.
Right.
There will still be buzz, but I think what saves him, this one buys him a little bit of time. He's getting big name recruits in.
Yeah, for sure. So he hasn't even gotten to his core players yet.
The big names on his squad, they're not his, but like Jason Marshall Jr., you got to step up, bro. You got torched. He was like, I think he was targeted 7 times, 5 receptions, 75 yards, a touchdown.
Oh, no.
Yeah, no, you can't have that. Had a missed tackle rate of like 20 plus. He's not looking very good. In this game, he didn't look very good. And this is a game where Joe Milton didn't look very good. So
Right.
what Milton looked good at was that at the
What's
cost of you.
right? What's targeting him?
Yeah. So, but this was a good one. This buys him a little bit of time. The clock slowed down a little bit. The sands of time have slowed.
Talk to me about two games you're looking forward to this week. Give me a layup and give me a dunk.
Let me see. So the layup, and I'm only saying it because nobody wants to give my team any credit. Nobody wants to talk about them. No, what? Screw it. No, I'm not gonna go layup. I was gonna go Oregon, Colorado. I'm not gonna go. We talk about Emory Jones. I'm gonna stay in the Big 12. I want to
Okay.
see Oklahoma, who's ranked 16, 3-0 against Cincinnati, 2-1. It's big. It's a big Big 12 matchup. Like I said, Emory Jones has found success with another ex Gator and Xavier Henderson. Like Henderson's got 300 yards receiving, right? 20 receptions. These guys really didn't do anything in Florida, and now they seem to just they're blossoming in the system. I mean, Dylan Gabriel's 11 touchdowns, 1 interception.
He's lighting it up.
Yeah, Oklahoma. I want to say that Oklahoma is one of 2 teams that leads the nation in points scored, offense and defensively. They're 1. Syracuse is 2.
Mm-hmm.
So this is, I think this is a litmus test. That was a key word in my episode with Froton tonight. We were talking about things like a lot of people. This is like he said, like the first 3 weeks are rough. This 4th week, there's a lot of big matchups. There's a lot of tests for teams who have looked good so far. This is a big test for Colorado. I think this is a big test for Cincinnati. I would have to say, if Cincinnati pulls this one out, they've got to crack the top 25. They have to.
I would agree, and they haven't had an easy non-conference schedule. Like I happen to have a Michigan bucket hat on. Could it get any easier? Would you like to schedule high school teams? On your non-conference schedule.
But they got Rutgers this week, and I don't think that's going to be a layup compared to how JJ performed, Mr. INT.
Right.
But my other game, and I hate this kid. Okay, because I just think he's another one of those products that came out in USC with the 3 quarterbacks who can't stay on a team. He stayed on a team. He transferred from one, but he stayed there and he's performing. He's one of the top QBs in the nation right now. This is the Alabama against Ole Miss. Ole Miss undefeated, 3-0, right? And 15th ranked. Alabama's 13th ranked, 2-1. It's an SEC battle. Jackson Dart is a top QB in the nation, 850 yards passing, 7 touchdowns. This is what's crazy. He leads the team in rushing, 213 yards, 2 touchdowns,
Not
32
Judkins on the mob, though. That's crazy.
Insane. I know Judkins didn't play much last game. He was hurt. He did play sparingly, but he's not 100%. This one's in Tuscaloosa. Back-to-back games there. Bryant-Denny Stadium's going to be popping, but don't let the protege get one. On a season where you don't look good.
Ole Miss has been able to rush the passer, and guess what Alabama hasn't been able to do?
Stop the pass rush. This could be one where now 2-2, 0-1 in the SEC. Ole Miss is now 4-0 with 1-0 in the SEC.
If this happens, expect Paul Feinbaum to have some Deion shades. Might be the call of the year.
Yeah, I mean, he also made a call. I think he made a bold statement saying that he thinks Notre Dame's going to be in the college football playoff. For that to happen, he's predicting a W this week, right?
He is. I could certainly see it happening, but it has to be a Notre Dame style game, and not a this year Notre Dame style game, like a last year Notre Dame style game when they win a game in all 3 phases. It's not crazy high scoring. And Sam Hartman is just able to make plays in those pivotal moments. If they can keep it close in the 4th quarter, go ahead.
I got one more. 14 Oregon State versus number 21 Washington State. Nobody's talking about Cam Ward.
That's crazy. I mentioned that game this weekend. That's crazy. Yes.
Yeah. Cam Ward's at 1,000 yards, 9 touchdowns. He's running amok. DJU looks polished right now in front of one of the best O-lines in the country.
Please tell me you seen the gift, bro.
Oh, yeah.
Please tell me.
Hey, I'm loving it.
Yeah.
I'm loving it. Dad's having a good time with
I'm
everything.
I'm sure, and as he should.
He's
Both of
gonna
his
be
sons' teams are playing really good. Where's he going this weekend?
both games.
Is he?
Yeah, well, because Oregon game is at home and it's at 3:30, and Oregon State game is in
Man,
Washington, which is the
we
next
should have
state
told
down.
Pops put you on the list, man. I'd have put up for a plane ticket for you to go to both, man. How
Oh,
far
that
is
would.
Eugene from Corvallis?
It's not Incovalis. It's in Washington.
It's
It's
in
in Pullman.
Washington,
So it's like,
and they border each other. That's right. Because my
yeah,
brother,
it's
when he
like
was
3
going
hours, I think.
I guess is it University of Washington, the Husky, whatever the
University of
Huskies are
Washington.
at.
Yeah, Huskies, yeah.
Yeah, my brother was there. He got his master's from there. He's getting his PhD from UCLA. Anyway, he will go to Oregon all the time. So I guess it's just an easy trip for him.
Hey, what would happen if Trent Dilfer shocked the damn world? He did it once before when he won a Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, he has.
What would happen if the fact that UAB's quarterback is the better QB statistically in this game is dumb? The fact that UAB's running back is the better statistically running back in this game is dumb. The fact that UAB's receivers are the better statistically in this game is dumb. But it's in Sanford Stadium.
How do you feel about his coaching style? That seems to be a topic of discussion lately. And granted, we're from the old school, so I already know what you're going to say. But like, how you feel about his coaching style?
I like his coaching style, but don't fall into a PJ Fleck role.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
I could see that happening.
Mhm.
The way he handles himself, I don't know if it'd be as weird. I don't think that Dilfer's gonna be one of them dudes that's gonna, if he don't get a standing ovation coming into the locker room, is gonna walk out and try it again.
Right.
We've heard that from multiple students has been reported that that's Fleck's game and gimmick. But I don't know. Georgia didn't look like, yes, they won the game against South Carolina. Okay, but I didn't see like pure dominance from Georgia. That first half wasn't.
You remember what I text you? I had a feeling, and it just didn't go their way. Didn't go the Gamecocks way in the second half, but
Yeah,
I felt like they won that game in the second half with dink and dunk plays and running the rock, and that scares me a little bit. If I'm a Athens fan, you know what I'm saying? Like that, just a little bit.
I saw first year Stetson Bennett offense.
1000%. Yeah.
We're gonna let him manage. We're gonna let Beck manage. We might take a couple shots down the field after we've got Edwards, who gave us 130 yards on the ground. Utilize keep the defense honest. Can't stack the box on us when we go into play action. They're gonna think we're running the ball. You gotta. Dilfer's changing the atmosphere and the culture over there. If they're in it at the half, that says something
It says a lot.
astronomical about UAB.
How long you think Trent Dilfer will be there? Over under 2 years. And I mean in a good way. Like he'll end up taking a better job.
Yeah, I'm gonna go under, and I know he's gonna. He's already come out and say, no coaches getting my kids DMs.
Yeah.
And, I'll expose you.
Yeah, people gonna be in his DMs though.
Yeah, I want to be. I want to build something here. This is my team. Yeah, everybody wants to build something here until you can build something at a bigger pro.
Michigan State come calling. You think he'll take it?
He'd be stupid not to.
He would be very stupid not to.
I'm gonna tell you who I think is gonna get the phone call from Michigan State.
Who?
Willie Fritz. I think Willie Fritz is your next candidate as a Michigan State Spartans head coach.
Why we're talking about it? Maybe we shouldn't go down this rabbit hole, but I'm gonna go down this rabbit hole anyway. So, since when does a team report they're gonna fire somebody, but not have done it yet? Because remember the initial reports that he was fired.
He was suspended. No, the initial report was he was suspended indefinitely.
Without pay.
Without pay, and then 3 days later, it was that they plan on firing him.
I forgot who it was that reported it because they put it out before we even put the real story out. It's like Mel Tucker will be fired, and then you put out the real story, and now it looks like they're intent on firing him. Is it just the legalities with the $79 million that's left on the contract? Is that all it is?
Is it $79 million? I thought it came out to be like 80.1 or something like that. I thought it was in the 80 millions.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I think that has to get worked out. The paperwork's probably got to get worked out. They're trying to cross the T's and dot the I's before this is all said.
They don't want to give him another dime.
No, and they don't want it to come back in 6 months for some kind of lawsuit against them. You know what I'm saying? So, but now I start to wonder what it's sexual harassment. It's not even, assault or anything like that. So I'm trying. What did he do, or to who did he do it to?
I think sometimes these coaches get lonely. They work, you know what I'm saying, 24/7 around the clock. I've even heard a few coaches say, hey, we need to separate, we need to change the time of the early winter transfer portal because some teams are preparing for bowl games and everything. Boom, National Signing Day is right around the corner. They don't have time to do anything. So what the lady was, and it's 6 degrees of separation, the lady communicated to the student athletes kind of what's appropriate and what's appropriate is what's inappropriate as far as sexual harassment and staying out of trouble. Because football players get in trouble all the time. I think every Power 5 school has some type of thing in place if they have someone come and talk to the students about what's appropriate, what's not appropriate, and sometimes the head coaches do it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
yeah. They're bringing a guest speaker or whatever it may be.
Yeah. So she was contracted, I think, either through Mel Tucker or I think Mel Tucker found her, and then she was contracted through the university. He found her, right?
He found her, right?
But through the university. And so while she's talking to the students about what's appropriate, not inappropriate, maybe, and he's innocent until proven guilty, but maybe he should have been listening a little bit more than,
Maybe a half dozen episodes past the CFB Prime, I said those teams and universities that try to jump out in front of things like this, making themselves look as guilty as possible.
Right.
They're putting Tucker's guilt out there on a platter by trying to get ahead of this and saying we're going to fire him one day or maybe 1 hour before the news breaks. That's when we'll fire him. Because in the end, all it's going to say is Michigan State fired him before the news broke.
That's it. That's all.
That's all. And they look better.
It's been a fantastic episode of Overreaction Mondays on a Tuesday. At the club going up on a Tuesday. Make sure you guys like, comment, share, subscribe. Make sure you guys also check out our sister company, T2T Network. I am the governor of college football. With me, of course, is the mayor of college football. This is Overreaction Monday, and next week we'll actually see you on a Monday. Y'all be blessed. Take care.